Oh, I don't know why I'm muted. Welcome back to the program, everybody. I'm Megan Fox. I don't know why my microphone was muted, but it is not muted now. Is it still? Still? You guys need to take a minute to catch up. I can't possibly still be muted. Woohoo! Okay, there I am. All right. Anyway, I was just saying I'm having my daughter bring me some plastic bags because I am packing up my nail salon here to take with me on vacation. I do not have much time. I have very little time. I have Tug's going to be streaming at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and so I need to be out of here by then so I can direct you guys all over to him. But there are things to be said and things to watch. Brad, I'm glad you're here, actually, buddy, because this involves you.
Oh,
that video you sent me from Dr. Heinz's show the other night. Oh my god!
Oh my god is right.
The hell you say? What the hell happened over there? Why is everybody yelling? What?
People are... So, all props to Johnson for trying to handle that situation.
Oh, Big Johnson. She did great, by the way. Okay, for those of you who don't know, there was a Dr. Heinz who I've been on with before in the past. Wonderful guy, great guy, got a YouTube channel. He actually did a Johnny Depp Amber Heard documentary that I was in about false accusers and about that case. And he had you guys on to talk about this case, and also he was going to talk about Karen Reed. And apparently he invited this woman who believes Karen Reed is guilty, which is unbelievable, by the way. I don't know how you watch this trial, because I have watched the trial. I'm in the middle of watching it and come to the conclusion that the state has proved its case beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't know how you could come to that conclusion. But then again, good for Critical K, who is this woman we're talking about, because she has made herself at least popular enough to get us talking about it. She only has 23 or so followers on Rumble. So I'm not, this is not too, and I feel a little bit bad about maybe how she's going to be perceived at this point, because I kind of started out agreeing with her. Anyway, she was asked on the show to talk about Karen Reed. She didn't end up talking about Karen Reed, did she, Brad?
No, she didn't.
I got my hair done today, folks. Thank you for the hair compliments. But I am not gray any longer. There is no more gray to be had here. I'm very excited.
How many hours did it take to get the grays out?
Oh, 3, 4. 4 hours approximately, because I had to do a double process this time. It had been too long since I'd been there, and she was like, this is going to take all day. I'm like, all right.
You got to keep coming back. Bring some of that breadstick money in every 2 months.
Oh, and by the way, folks, send the breadstick money because I am in serious need. I had to go spend $500 on shoes for my kids for Disney World.
Holy cow.
$500 it cost to get 7 pairs of shoes. And no, I don't have 7 kids, but they each needed a pair of gym shoes and a pair of sandals. So it's 2 shoes per kid. And then I needed sandals for me. 7 pairs of shoes, $500.
Do they not have Payless in New York? Like, my God.
I went to DSW. DSW, Brad. DSW. So I just want to say thanks to all of you. I had a banner month last month, so thank you for that, because that paid for my shoes and, and also a trip to the hairdresser. So I appreciate very, very much. We will be, let's see, I'm going to put on the banner, vacation tips accepted. There we go. Vacation tips accepted. So, all right. Here's what we're going to do. I wasn't planning on streaming tonight, but I can't help myself. I was listening to that again, Brad. I got to bring it up. But before we do that, we also have to get through a couple of clips that Schnitzel Ninja posted. These are brand new about the case, about the Laura Owens case. If you have not shared this stream, by the way, make sure you do that. I feel like people haven't got their notifications or something, or maybe no one was expecting me to go live because I'm not seeing a whole bunch of you yet here. Let's see. Share this. Okay. So these 2 videos are new. Let's watch the Owens v. Gillespie, November 12th.
The 2021 one is the notable one. 2022 is kind of dumb, but...
Wait, 2021 is the one you're saying? That's November 12th. All right, here we go. Oops, I'm slowed down here for some reason. Holy cow! Why are we
using
doing
Gregory
that?
Gillespie, FN 2021
You'll want to skip to like
04799. Miss Owen, are
20
affirmed to tell the
seconds.
truth, the whole.
I do, Your Honor.
Okay.
All right.
Tell me your name and date of birth for the record.
Nope.
Blah, blah.
5/14/19.
All right. This, I know you've been in front of me before on this case.
Pause.
Has she? Has she
Pause.
been in front of him before on this case?
So this is where it gets complicated. And a lot of people, because I got an email this morning on this and saying, hey, there might be a victim 1.5, or no, this would be 2.5. And saying, you know, she could have done this to someone else. But after thinking about it and listening to this, there's a high likelihood that when she filed originally, that she did what she usually does. Takes a 20-page letter of evidence and whatnot and puts it in front of the judge. And the judge
denies it because it's too much bullshit.
Yes.
And then she has to come back and try again. Yeah. And I think that he's about to tell on himself too. He's going to tell on himself here.
These allegations are, I remember them. Oh, yeah. You're the one who's friends with the attorney in California.
Mr. Cotchett, yes.
Okay, hold the phone. Hold the front door, everybody. Why is it that Judge Duty knows about Joe Cotchett? Now, there's one of two possibilities. One, she said something to him about it in their ex parte communications, and he knows the guy. Or two, she may have impersonated Joe Cotchett again and sent the judge an email from Joe Cotchett. And we won't know until my FOIAs come back. And by the way, I did not FOIA any emails between Joe Cotchett and Judge Duty, which I obviously need to do. Because if she impersonated her dad's lawyer friend again, which we allegedly think that she did that before. I think that she did that before because I don't think that email came from a lawyer, and he won't respond and say whether it did or not. Mm-hmm. But by the way, guys, my FOIA still has not come back about this. They have not responded, and they will not tell me when a reasonable amount of time will be that I can expect this FOIA to come back. They were kind of rude to me about it, to tell you the truth. I'm trying not to push it. I'm trying not to be annoying to the court. I'm, just trying to do my job. But I do want to know, what are these emails between them? And I think it's very strange that Judge Duty keeps talking like he knows her. So let's keep going.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Let's see here. Just looking at some of these allegations, you say Mr. Gillespie put his hands on your throat. When did that happen?
Now, that's a new one for me, Brad. I haven't heard that allegation, and I read her, her order of protection thing against him. I don't remember seeing that there, but maybe it is.
That actually happened on our first date.
All right. And you've only known him since like June or something, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Wait a minute. That happened on your first date? And there was a second one?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
And then in the text messages, she's talking about wanting to keep going and stuff. So it's very weird that a woman would have supposedly been manhandled and then she'd be like, yeah, let's keep going.
You have to date me. Sign this dating contract, you choker, you. The guy that put his hands around my throat. You have to date me, or I won't have an abortion. What? That doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry, but it makes no sense. And this is not victim. It's not like victim blaming or anything. Like, I don't think victims behave like this. I don't think if somebody put their hands around your throat and you're actually afraid of them and you want to get away from them, you don't then go to them and say, sign this dating contract and date me. Come on. Come on. I don't believe her. All right. God, Duty, can you speed it up a little? Crikey. He's just sitting there doing nothing. Let's speed it up.
We had a conversation the other day, and
Whoops.
Oh, you did? We had a conversation the other day, says Judge Duty. Well, in what context? In what context did you have a conversation with Laura Owens? I think we all need to know this now. Now, maybe it was innocent. Maybe it wasn't, what we think it was. Maybe it wasn't ex parte. Maybe, actually, I can't think of a reason why he would have a conversation with her off the record. And he says later on, he's going to say, just remember, we're on the record this time. As in, we were not on the record last time. What the hell? What the absolute hell, Maricopa? Thank you.
I want to start off by saying that everything that we say in our hearing today is something that will be recorded, and Mr. Gillespie and his attorneys can get copies of it. And they can get copies of this too. All right, this petition they're going to, if I grant this.
So just reminding you that you need to be careful what you say here, because I have to turn everything that we say here in this meeting over to the other side. Whereas in that last meeting, none of that is going to be on the record. That's what I'm hearing here, Brad.
I'm wondering if we are able to FOIA the original petition and see how much filled it was.
What do you mean, how filled it was?
Because the implication in this conversation was that he told her to tone it down and make it shorter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, right. We're not at that part yet.
Okay.
Quit skipping ahead.
So you're aware of that, right?
Yes.
Okay. I will grant your order of protection.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Oh, of course. I told you I shortened that too.
Somewhat.
You did shorten.
I told you what? Hold on.
Somewhat. I told you I shortened that too.
Somewhat.
I told you I would then too. I told you I would then too. I told you at that other meeting we had that I would grant it. Is that normal for a judge to tell somebody before a hearing, I'm going to grant your order of protection? Now, I realize they hand out these things like candy. I realize that. But is it normal? Is it appropriate for a judge? And I know he's just a commissioner, but he's still a judge. Is it normal for him to tell somebody off the record that he's going to grant them something before he sits and hears the evidence? And now he's about to say, well, you shortened it. I'm glad you shortened it. Obviously, he gave her legal advice about how to do it so that he could grant it. Am I the only one who's outraged by this? This does not seem to me to be the kind of thing that should be going on in a court of law with judges showing their biasing one litigant against another by giving them off the record legal advice. Is this something judges do?
Especially commissioners, because he's should be a practicing attorney out in the wild, but in this capacity.
Yeah. What? Infuriating. Okay, the chat says, there goes impartiality. Yep. I'm outraged too. Yep. Pissed. Listen, I heard, I think Dana called in on Dave's stream today, and she was like, well, it might not be anything. I mean, I was in front of one of these judges, and he mentioned that we had a mutual acquaintance, and that's kind of normal. And it's like, okay, it could be, but in this context, I don't think so, because he is admitting to speaking to her off the record and also clearly gave her advice. And if you want to hear that part, here it is.
Shortened it somewhat. I told you I shortened that too.
Somewhat.
You did shorten it somewhat. Anyway, I'm not going to, it's not appropriate for me to go beyond what I told you. I think I already said
Yeah.
plenty on that date. And
I think I already said plenty on that date.
Mm-hmm.
It's not appropriate for me to go beyond what I told you. I think I said plenty on that date. Well, Judge, I think you said more than plenty. I think what you did here is totally ridiculous. And he screwed up at the hearing with Clayton too, because he covered his mouth in an Amber Heard moment when he said that he had spoken to her previously. Oh, I'm not supposed. And then he goes, "I'm not supposed to say that."
And you don't have that FOIA back either.
No, I don't have that FOIA back. And they wouldn't tell me when they're going to give it to me. Oh yeah, shame bell. Yeah, this does call for the shame bell. Holy shit, Judge Judy.
Shame.
This is terrible. And I'm sorry, I don't think there's an innocent way to see this. I really don't. I do not think there's an innocent way to see this at all. This, to me, it stinks of impropriety. It stinks of impartiality. It stinks.
Obviously an intelligent person. Hopefully you've spoken with, you said plenty on that date. And you're, obviously an intelligent person. Hopefully you've gotten some legal advice since then and you're acting at the advice of counsel. I hope.
Yes, I am.
Why do you hope? Why do you care? I mean, I understand, like, as a judge, maybe you advise people you should really get a lawyer, but why do you hope that she has one? You're not supposed to care in this context. Whether she chooses to get an attorney or not is on her. And if she chooses not to get an attorney, guess what? Your hope has nothing to do with it. You have to treat her exactly the same as if she were represented by an attorney. She should be held to the same standard.
Mm-hmm.
So why is he giving her all this advice and good advice and judicial advice to get a lawyer and shorten her petition and telling her he's going to give it to her before she goes before him in a hearing? I mean, holy shit.
Because he's probably overly sympathetic to women that come before him and say that they're battered and need to be protected from the guy that they have, because he's read over the entire complaint and then some, because it was bigger than what it is when this was granted. So he's already seen everything and he's like, yeah, this looks terrible. I feel sorry for you and I hope you have counsel. And
oh, for fuck's sake.
Good. So, all right, let me get your order in front of me. It looks like we have another order of protection that just came in too. I'm going to grant yours. So what I would like to do is ask your permission when I'm ready to.
I don't think anything else.
no, he says,
interesting
I want to save time
happens.
by reading you both the statutory language of a protection order, is what he
Right.
says.
Yeah, I don't think anything like important comes up after that. Okay, so that was very interesting to me. I do not like it. I don't think there's another explanation. Although if there is one, I'd be willing to hear it. But at this point, I think Judge Judy needs to explain himself because this is ridiculous. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pop over to the unintentional juror. Dr. Hines had you guys
Saw him
on.
in the chat.
Hey, Dr. Hines. I think he's in the chat. Cool guy. I've been on with him before. Do you have timestamps for this?
Do
Brad?
I? No. It looks like he's got some chapter markers, but
Oh, good. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Oh, awesome.
Well, again, moral of the story is don't be dumb, don't be a slut, and don't be getting involved in women and getting intimate with them when you don't know them from Eve, because people nowadays are.
Okay, I actually want to go back before this and find out how this got started. Because I remember listening to this whole thing and then going, what in the hell? Where did this come from? Now, I didn't start out hating what Critical K had to say. Critical K is this K Marie over here with no icon or picture. I want to know how she started commenting on this.
so Kay had never heard of Owens Eckerd at all.
She'd never heard of this case.
So
And for somebody who never ever heard of this case, she sure had a lot to say about it. Yeah?
Yeah. So she said, fill me in what's going on. So this case is really hard to summarize because we've been living in it for literally 6 months. We know all of the nitty gritty details, and to try and summarize the biggest things for this case,
Yeah, it's really hard.
it's really hard. And so trying to explain all of the minutia of the real estate deal turns into, and Dave was going over it earlier today, talking about how she was saying she didn't want to move forward with the real estate deal unless they tried dating. Like, and that communication is so difficult to try and explain without watching Nick Vial to see Clayton talk about it specifically and spend 10-15 minutes going over that, and then be able to cover all of the things that happened from June 15th to August 1st, and then going into September and October, where we're talking about HCG chests, orders of protection, injunctions against harassment, all that other stuff.
Yeah, so the thing is that she didn't know anything about this case. She was there to discuss the Karen Reed case, and then somehow ended up getting into this screeching fight. Now, MG, I agree with you that at first it sounds kind of rational, because MG's like, hey, that's not bad advice there. That's true. It's not bad advice, but just wait for it. Wait for it. Let's see how that got started.
Women have it down to an art form, and especially
because I started out, Brad, kind of empathetic to her.
Being here, that this is why I teach my sons. I have 3 grown sons. This is why I teach them how manipulative women can be. To steer clear. All people can be, but especially women. Women have it down to an art form, and especially when they're trying to get you to have sex with them and get you to be intimate with them without any benefit of marriage or commitment. I mean, the moral of the story here is, what the hell is he doing having casual anything with some woman in a home? She's a realtor, right? She was selling a home.
See, again, and this made me want to scream, because she doesn't have any of the details of the case. It's like, okay, it's all right to have like your opinion of like women can be bad, and that's why you tell your sons to be careful and live defensively, and that's all good. But stop commenting on a case that you don't have any details on, because that's going to make me want to scream.
It's highly unethical. What an idiot, doing that in a home that he's supposed to be listing. And
no,
it's his house.
Oh, it's his house?
Yeah, he invited her over to his house.
Yeah, shut your trap and listen more.
And they were using cannabis gummies.
Well, again, moral of the story is, don't be dumb, don't be a slut, and don't be getting involved in women and getting intimate with them when you don't know them from Eve. Because people nowadays are sociopathic, looking for trouble, they're bored. People have lost their minds since COVID, even more so. And these people walk amongst us, and you have to constantly be on your guard from them.
Okay, all of that is good advice. There's nothing she said there that's wrong at all. But then it starts to go over the cliff.
Period. So he kind of invited this, and she deserves all the punishment she has coming her way.
He kind of invited this. Well, it's true that casual sex and, inviting strangers into your life for casual sex can cause a lot of problems. However, nobody invites fake twin pregnancies and litigious litigation that never ends. Nobody invites criminal action against them. Now, you could say that you're taking a bigger risk, right? By getting intimate with somebody that you don't know. You're taking a bigger risk, for sure, that something like this could happen. But then again, Mike Maricini was in a relationship with her for 2 years. Mm-hmm. So he did get to know her. It still happened to him. How do we explain that? Okay, so let me see what else his timestamps are, because it really goes off the rails. All right, here we go.
Medium that she claims on her medium that she took multiple pregnancy tests
Yeah.
Is she really at this
Including
point?
one
I'm
in
like, is she really taking Laura's story as what happened here? Like it.
front of him,
Yep.
one at home, one at the urgent care, one done in his presence, and then soon after discovered she was pregnant with twins.
Yep.
And that he went silent when it was time to take a paternity test. She said she made 29 requests at a lab that he had previously selected. And then she says when he finally responded, he dared her to reach out to the tabloids.
Him daring her to reach out to the tabloids was her going, you're going to sign a dating contract and agree to date me with intention for a week and explore intimacy, and you're going to respond to me on this, and you're going to respond to me on this, or I'm going to go to the tabloids and tell them what you did and tell my story. And she kept making those threats so often that he went, fine, I don't care. Go to the tabloids, do whatever you have to do. I'm not going to give in to your demands and play your game. So she took that as, he dared me to, he told me to. He said he would if I didn't. No, the man wanted her out of his life and was not willing to play the back and forth harassment game she was trying to like grab me. She sent 500 texts and over 13 phone numbers.
This is like something from a Lifetime movie, man.
Yeah.
Seriously, this is a Lifetime movie plot. And he claims that he did not penetrate her, that he did not. Okay.
His story has stayed the same from day one, that they did not have penetrative sex. She gave him 2 blowies. And I was back in the days when Laura was on Reddit and the story first came out and people were like, wait a second, like, tell me about this, tell me about that. And she goes, he was high on gummies and invited me over, so maybe he just doesn't remember what happened. And we all went, so that sounds like he couldn't consent and you took advantage of him. And she went, absolutely not. This was 100% consensual. We hooked up. And she released an email going back and forth with Clayton, where Clayton's like, I do not believe you are pregnant. And when she released that email publicly, she blacked out the area where Clayton said, we did not even have sex. So more info came out as the story produced. We got that full email where he says, we never had sex. You gave me 2 blowjobs. That was it. Well, months of us not, her not being believed, she turned that into, well, he sexually assaulted me. He took advantage of me because
Dr. Hines, I thought the same thing. Dr. Hines says, I thought she was going to change her mind and we get back on track from here. So did I. And it goes so off the rails. It's not even funny. By the way, you guys, go and subscribe to Dr. Hines. Go and subscribe to the, what is the name of your channel? The Unintentional Juror. The Unintentional Juror. I have linked this video in the description of my live stream, so make sure that you give him a click and you watch the whole thing. It's very worthwhile. I think it was a great interview, but yeah, it goes so nuts after this.
told him I did not want to have sex, and he stuck it in anyways. So she has changed. She has tried to go after every different avenue that she can attack him and make him out to be the bad guy. And for me, all that does is someone who has been essayed, as someone who has been in a domestic violence relationship, all that does is degrade my word and my story and my voice, because she's lying about things that really happened to me. And I don't believe a dang thing that comes out of her mouth because she's told lies before. So what it hurts anyone who's actually gone through those things, because now I'm not going to be believed as much because we see the lies that people like her will tell.
Yeah.
That's a very, very good point. And that's why this case, again, is very important, because she has to be held accountable for what she has actually been saying. I have always said this, to be honest, this is also in part very surprising. Well, it makes me happy, but cases like this don't get prosecuted too often, especially in the States. I know over here we have perverting the course of justice, so you can't get prosecuted over here, but they've been trying to get rid of that. Seeing recourse like this, seeing the DA, or the county district that are deciding to now pursue charges against her, that's a very good thing in my book. And I think we have to highlight that rather than focus on what he should have done, what she should have done. Because at the end of the day, They're like, let's say someone's house is getting robbed or someone, and then something bad happens afterwards. No one is gonna think, oh well, the owner of the house should have locked up tight and got the ninja
That's
turtles
apples and
to guard the
oranges.
house and make
That's
sure that
apples.
everything is safe. That's what I'm
No,
trying to
that's
say. Like,
apples and oranges.
No,
That's
it
apples and
isn't.
oranges. A more appropriate analogy would be if you invited a loser drug addict into your home and then you got robbed. Yes, you did. You invited that. You should know better than
No, there was no way to tell that Laura Owens was a crazed, vengeful psycho. There was no way to tell that. She just seemed like a normal person that he met. There's no way to tell that. She wasn't advertising that she has, you know, a personality disorder or whatever the hell is going on with her. That doesn't make any sense.
to let a loser drug addict into your home. So that's apples and oranges.
But she didn't present herself. She presented herself as this successful businesswoman who was ambitious. She didn't come out with her red flag showing. She came out as like.
But again, this is the world we live in. People are fake. They put on their fake, and you have to be on guard for it.
And that's why our justice system needs to prosecute people who do this, which is the whole point of talking about it in the first place. Am I right, Brad?
You are correct.
Yeah. And it's like she wants to just say, oh, well, people are crazy. And because you weren't on your guard, oh, well, you get screwed. And that's just those are the natural consequences. Okay. Yes, it's true that there are natural consequences to being dumb, making dumb choices. That doesn't mean that the dumb don't deserve justice. The dumb deserve justice as well as the smart people, because guess what? Smart people also get conned. Medium smart people get conned, and dumb people get conned, all alike. Just because you're smart doesn't mean you'll never fall for a scam. How many of you out there have ever worked for a multi-level marketing company? I bet there's a bunch of you out there in the chat too that have worked for a multi-level marketing company. And I bet it took you a really long time to figure out that, holy shit, this is a scam. Lots of smart people get scammed. And that doesn't mean that the scammer shouldn't then also go to jail or be held accountable for the scam. Just because you were dumb enough to get scammed or whatever, or not paying attention. You don't have to even be dumb to get scammed. Just because you got scammed doesn't mean you deserved it. And Clayton got scammed. He's a victim of a scam, and he deserves justice just like any other victim. And this is pissing me off. Yeah, I went through my moment of like at the beginning of this case where I was like, oh, Clayton. Oh, Clayton. You shouldn't have done that. Oh, but you think he doesn't know that? Do you think he doesn't know that? Is it helpful in any way to tell the victim of a scam, boy, you really shouldn't have fallen for that scam? You know what you should have done instead? Not fallen for the scam. Does that help the victim in any way? I mean, it might help someone next time, you know, who watches the story, who sees it, and maybe, you know, that person sees a red flag in a woman and goes the other direction because of this story. Maybe it helps someone else down the line, but it doesn't help the person going through it in the moment. It doesn't help him. You know what helps Clayton? The fact that we are here fighting for justice in this case, and we will not rest and we will not stop until he gets it. Yeah. Mander says that's ringing the wrong shame bell. Let me get to a few of these starred chats and things. Laura Owens, thanks for the super chat, says we can hear you now, like me on a flight to Iceland. Good one. Sarah Adams, thanks for the two. Just the tip. That's funny. Thank you, Wendy Boo. Member for 3 months. Hi, Megan, Brad, and Chad. Have fun on your vacation, Megan. Well, I'm going to try real hard in the sweltering heat of the Florida sun, standing in line outside with 8 million other people. I'm going to try real hard to keep my cheerfulness going, and I'm going to enjoy the pool at the hotel. Laura Owens, thanks for the 5. Wait, he choked my 4th personality on the first date. Follow along, people. Jeez. Mazda thinks the 5 figured out her MO. Tell a guy she wants rough segs, then make sure they are on some paperwork, and then revenge after they don't comply with demands. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Wendy A. Didn't Critical K get kicked off YouTube? Yeah, we're getting to that. She did. And she lost a huge defamation suit. And so maybe she should watch her mouth, because her mouth tends to get her into some trouble. Rogue Mama says Critical K was kicked off YouTube and lost a $500,000 defamation case. That's how it appears. I have that defamation case thanks to Brad. He got that to me. It's pretty interesting. She just never showed up, so she lost a default judgment. Bruce from Oregon, the stream was to cover the new blog post, not to debate risk mitigation opinions. Yes. And I mean, we've all been through this in this case. We've all had our opinions on what Clayton should have done, or what Mike should have done, or what Greg should have done. But that doesn't help the victim at all. And so we should spend less time about what we think should have happened and more time on what needs to happen going forward, and what can change in our justice system, and what can change with authorities so that this can't happen to somebody else. That's the most important thing here. It not beating up Clayton for what he did or didn't do that was right or wrong in our opinion. My opinion, your opinion, doesn't do anything to help. And Kay's opinion certainly doesn't do anything to help Clayton. Cat Lady Ballerina, she should have listened more and screeched less. Yes, I agree. Sarah Adams, thanks to the 2, says you look at least 13 and a half years younger, Fatneck. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I did get the grays removed. I was aiming for a solid 10 years younger. I will take 13 and a half. Take it. Boots on the Ground says she had a valid point. She just didn't move on from it. She repeated it over and over again. Right. I feel like we all kind of had that point at one point, but what's the point in harping on it forever and ever? You say it, you move on. Yeah, it's probably not a good idea to get blowies from damn near strangers. Okay. Well, you can't put the cat back in the bag. It's out of the bag. You know, the toothpaste, it's out of the tube. Boy, that's a bad
reference there, Megan.
Oh, that was bad. That was bad.
Phrasing.
I'm sorry, chat. I apologize. McCrae, thanks for the huge super chat for the vacay fund. I don't envy you at all, because I hated Disney Universal, but hope you have a fun and safe trip. It's not my favorite place in the world, although I've never been to Universal, so maybe that... Well, I was there. I was at the one in California a long time ago when I was like 12. But I've never been to the Harry Potter thing, so maybe I'll enjoy that. I just know how exhausting it's going to be. I know we're going to need a vacation from our vacation, which we won't get.
Yep.
Because we will be paying for this vacation for the next 10 years. So, you know, it is what it is.
Get that second mortgage going.
Yeah, thank you for your tips. I appreciate it. It's mouse money. Today we are looking for mouse money, because that mouse is going to financially grape me the second I get through there. Before we walk out the door, it's going to be a full-on essay from the mouse. It's bad. He's going to grape our wallets until there's nothing left, and then turn us upside down and shake us for the change. And we know this going in, and yet we sign up for it every time. Zach, thanks for the 5, says Brad got so furious he voice modulated half a decibel, and Big Johnson went nuclear. It was glorious. It was. It really got out of control. We're going to get there. Unhung Hero, thanks for the 5. Didn't she get sued for defamation? Did she invite that? Well, one could say that she did, by saying stupid things that she couldn't back up with truth. As the ultimate defense of defamation. All right, let's move on.
Okay. Let me ask you a question then. So I've got a friend who there's this woman who's been doing very similar things to my friend because he rejected her. And she...
Rosalind Duke sent 20. Here's one bottle of water. Oh my God, it's so true. It's so true. Bottled water at Disney World is like $20 a bottle. You know what though? They shook us down for the meal plan, so we don't even have to think about it. It's just all added in. It's just all added in. You know what? We don't have to know how much a bottle of water is, Roz, because they just charge it to the wristband or whatever the hell.
When I was in Vegas, I paid $8 for a bottle of water. Like,
ouch.
I was infuriated by the fact that you would pay $8 for a bottle of water. And it's not like it's much cheaper anywhere else.
Oh, man.
Sarah Adams.
What did Sarah say? Where is she?
You want ice? It's going to cost you.
Yes. You guys, it is such a financial assault. Disney World is a financial assault, but you know, Mr. Fox insisted on it. Hangry has never been. This is his first and last trip ever. Because after this, I'm telling you, I already made the deal with Mr. Fox. I said, after this, it is national parks all the way. It is camping and national parks. Those will be our family vacations from here on out. RVs and national parks all the way. That's my favorite trip ever. My absolute favorite trip ever. What is going on with my microphone arm?
I don't know.
Oh, Brad.
Have you guys done the DC tour with him and the other kids?
No, not yet. Well, I've been to. My sister lives outside of DC, so yes, and no. Yes, he's been to DC.
Because doing that,
a couple of the museums and stuff, we go there quite often because we go to my sister's, and then we all go down to DC. We do Chinatown and we do the Smithsonian. All right, we got to get going. I got
went out, said some things, so I stood up for him and said, "He's not a bad guy. I'm sorry if he treated you that way." But just because I said something about my friend, this woman has flipped around and has been stalking and harassing me, has shown up at my door, has threatened to kill my dogs, has threatened to harm my family. And I'm currently in litigation fighting to get this woman out of my life. Am I wrong? Was I wrong because I should have known better than to engage with a person who was upset and saying crazy things? Because that's how, when you say that he should have known better, that's how it's making me feel, that for standing up to be a good person.
But apples and oranges. You standing up for your friend. But it is. What you're doing by standing up for your friend is noble. Her harassment of you is completely out of line. And of course you didn't ask for that. But we're talking about a man having a casual sex act with a woman, completely inappropriate.
No,
let's back up a minute.
That's why. Hold on
Let's
a
back up a
second.
minute. Who was selling their home? Him? Her?
Oh gosh,
No.
she doesn't even.
He's a real estate agent.
He's a real estate agent,
can't
and
take
she was
it.
selling her home, or
I
claimed
can't
she was.
She wants to buy property because she wanted to be in the
This is
Airbnb.
Brad's
rental
internal
business.
monologue
And
right
so
now.
he met with her under business, the auspices of a business.
No. They
No.
had actively looked for houses, and after looking for some houses, they had developed this customer-client relationship, and
God bless you, Brad, for being so, you're being so patient with her. But I know inside you're like this.
she was sending him lewds. She was being flirtatious through text messages. And then after a few days of looking at Scottsdale real estate, then he had invited her over. So it wasn't just a matter of him like preying upon a client.
No. I'm not saying he preyed upon a client, but
Yeah,
this
you
certainly
did.
was
were.
a business
Yeah, you
arrangement to begin with, right?
At the start
Yeah,
of it,
but-
At the start of it, it was a business arrangement. Look, I'm just going by, I don't know this story. Okay?
Obviously.
You're the one who opened with, he met her under a business arrangement and got 2 blowjobs from her. That's scummy behavior, and that is opening the door
It
for
is.
some
Is it scummy behavior though? I mean, it might not be wise behavior, but like I took offense to her calling him scummy. I really do, because this woman was completely open to it. Let's not pretend, by the way, that a realtor and a client is some kind of relationship like a teacher and a student. Okay. A realtor meets a client. Those are 2 adults. And if they're consenting to whatever, I don't give a shit. I may think it's wise or unwise or whatever. That's neither here nor there. What I think about it and what I would do in my own life has nothing to do with that. A realtor and a client is not a relationship like I don't know, give me something else with a conflict, Brad.
a lawyer and a client.
A lawyer and a client. There you go. You don't have a fiduciary. You have a fiduciary duty in real estate, but not like. I bet people meet realtors all the time and go out on dates with them. I bet realtors meet women like that all the time. And I bet women who are realtors meet men like that all the time. I bet it's very, very usual. Yeah, they're not a therapist and a client. He's not a doctor and she's not a patient. Like, let's not make this more than it is. Let's not call him a scumbag or whatever, because so what? He met a girl. Who cares? So what? He's a realtor. Calm down.
crazy. look, if we're not going
That
to take
doesn't
these
excuse it,
stories,
though.
but let me finish. It's not excuse making. If we're not going to take these stories, as awful as they are, and use them as teaching moments, then what's the point? Then we're just gossiping. Then we're just.
I hated this argument.
Yes.
I hated this argument. Are you telling me, Kay, that news is gossip unless we're all learning a lesson from it? What?
If I'm not beating you with a moral stick, it's therefore just gossiping.
It's therefore just gossiping? I have a feeling she gossips a lot, by the way. And also, it turns out this woman is an Amber Heard fan. If she thinks Clayton's a slut, I guess she doesn't know about Amber Heard's drug-using cuddle puddles. I got news for you, Kay. I got news for you. She wasn't just cuddling in those cuddle puddles. She's a big old whore. Do you know that about Amber Heard? She's like a big whore. Today on the Horror Report, we can talk about Amber Heard's multiple sex partners of all different genders, because she's got girlfriends, she's got boyfriends, she does group sex. It's all in there. It was all in the case, you guys. She's making out with women in the elevator, making out with men in the elevator, none of whom were her husband. So
Sarah Adams, I'm calling you out. You're now, we're slut shaming you.
I mean, if she really thinks Clayton's a slut, what is she doing sticking up for Amber Heard, who's the biggest whore any of us has ever seen this side of the Mississippi? What are we doing here, Kay? What are we doing?
Yeah, it's...
Wait, Dr. Hines says, bet she will say, oh no, her being a whore doesn't deserve the abuse since she believes her. Right, but I guess if Clayton's a whore, though, then if he's a slut, he deserves it because he's stupid. Frankly, I think this is misogyny. It's like this.
It's misogyny.
It's misandry. It's misandry. It's against men. So a woman can get away with it. A woman can be a slut, and a woman can make bad decisions, but she gets to be a victim still. But a man, on the other hand, can't be a slut, can't make bad decisions, or he is not a victim. That sucks.
My wife and I had this conversation in the car afterwards as we were going to dinner, and I said there is a moral story here, but it's not our place to try and put our moral compass on someone else, especially a year after the fact, because all you're doing is beating him at that point.
I do all kinds of moralizing. You guys know that. I tell you that I don't want to hear about your fetishes. I don't want to hear about your kinks. And I really don't. I don't understand these people and these foot fetish things. I do a lot of moralizing. I have my own opinions. This woman a little bit reminded me of me 20 years ago. Because 20 years ago, I would have been, making all my moral pronouncements. But 20 years after, and having my own experiences with my own children and just human experiences, right? There's really no point in the beating someone over the head with the moral stick. Now, I have a right to my opinions on things, and I think that there's a good way to do things and a bad way to do things. But I will admittedly say, just because you live your life correctly the way I think you should, doesn't mean you're not going to run into any of these problems. It's not a guarantee. In fact, let me give you a story that I was thinking of while I was listening to her. And this really kills me too, because this was such a sad story, and it really woke me up to a lot of bad things happen to good people. I grew up with a girl, and you guys know this, I was raised in an apostolic, very religious, fundamentalist, cultish kind of religion. And it was the no makeup, long skirts, modesty rules, all of that stuff, like the Mormons that you see out in, Utah or whatever. And there was a girl who was raised in this church with us. She married her first love. They did not sleep together before they were married. And then, she did everything the way her parents told her to do, right? She believed everything the church told her to do, everything her parents told her to do. She did it all. She didn't have premarital sex. She got married to this man who was in the church also. His parents were in the church as well. Everybody thought everything was fine. She didn't know. He went on to abuse her sexually for 2 or 3 years, maybe longer, before she told anyone. Because she didn't know what to expect when it came to sex. She had no idea that he should not be using objects on her and hurting her. She had no idea. Now, that's an extreme sort of thing that I'm sure is not very common. But she was abused, this precious girl that we were all very close to and very close to her parents. And her parents had no clue that this was happening. And when she finally told her mother, the way she told her was basically like, well, does this ever happen to you? Did you ever have this happen? And the kinds of things that she told her mother was going on are some of the most horrific, essay sort of things. This man was, raping and abusing her for years, and nobody knew. So, and what did she do to bring that on? Absolutely nothing. She did everything she was supposed to do, and yet she was still a victim of abuse. Whose fault is it that happened to her? So I feel like no matter what you tell, and of course we should live defensively. Of course we should drive defensively. And of course that we should be careful. And we tell our kids to be careful and not drink when they're out and, party responsibly and all these things. But when that goes wrong, because it will, because kids make their own decisions, because people make mistakes, do they deserve to be abused? Absolutely. Do they not deserve justice? No. And this is about to get so much worse.
Empty gossiping about tragic stories. But if you're not willing to take them and use them as teaching moments and say to other men, especially young men, look what can happen when you behave this way. Just don't do it.
Why are the men the ones who need to learn this lesson and not the women? The women need to be the ones who need to be held accountable and held at a higher standard to not treat men this way. It's not a gender issue. It's a shitty human behavior issue.
It is a shitty human behavior issue. But if you're a good person and a shitty person and you open the door for a shitty person, based on just that alone,
that doesn't
getting
make
a
sense.
blowjob from some woman you don't even know. I'm sorry. My sympathy meter runs a little low there. Everything he's been through, totally unwarranted. Everything.
My sympathy meter does not run low. Sorry. I still have all the sympathy and empathy for the people who are conned and scammed, as I do for anybody else.
The funny thing about this, and I'll need to jump to Tilted Lawyer stream soon, but we have sympathy for Laura
Tilted
Owens.
Lawyer is going on against Tug? That sucks.
Yeah.
Does he always go at this time of night?
He's Pacific, right. So
I am expecting my chat to head over to Tug after this. He's going to go over the letters that I did. I love Tilted Lawyer, don't get me wrong, but I've got my loyalties. Tug's going to be going over the new Medium posts and Jingris's stuff. You're not going to want to miss it. And I may make an appearance.
But the idea is that we have empathy for Laura Owens. For as shitty of a person as she has to destroy the lives of these three guys, we have empathy for her because there is obviously something missing in her life that she desperately needs. Whether it's companionship, whether it's the idea that she needs to date upwards in order to try and secure a life for herself, whatever the case may be, she has something missing in her life. And it's sad that we want to... that she's going through this, and we want her to be better, and we want her to get her life on a track that allows her to be successful and show a comeuppance story. Everyone loves a comeuppance story. Like, I don't think there's an American story that people don't like to get behind the person that finds themselves at the bottom or in the back of an alley at their worst part of their life, and then finds some way to be able to turn over a new leaf, grow, and be a better person. But she's just not there yet, unfortunately. And the sooner that she gets there, the sooner her life could be so much better.
Yep. Those are wonderful words, Brad. That's absolutely true. All right, she's going to rage quit here in a minute, and it's hilarious.
She's done totally horrible and evil. I'm not saying it's warranted. I'm not saying women like her that we shouldn't raise our daughters better. I'm not saying that, because certainly there are completely scary sociopathic men walking among us too that we have to warn our daughters about. But just this story, on the basis of the facts I was told, he met this woman under the auspices of a business arrangement, got 2 blowjobs casually from her, and then it all went chaotic from there. Had he just not done it, had he just had more respect for himself, more respect for her, none of this would have happened.
Okay, I have something else to say about this too. We can't go back in time. We don't have a time machine. There is no had he not done it. And all that does is shame Clayton. But let me say something to Clayton right now. Clayton, I have a what if for you. Clayton, if this had not happened to you, there is a very good chance that Laura Owens would never have been caught.
Mm-hmm.
There is every reason to believe that if Clayton had not invited her back to his house, that she would have done this to somebody else and somebody else and somebody else and somebody else, and nobody would have been able to stop her or find out about it because they weren't semi-famous like Clayton. Frankly, Clayton being the one that made this mistake. Mistakes sometimes happen for good reasons. Mistakes can be divinely orchestrated, in my opinion. If he may have been chosen for this mistake. Let's just put that out there. Because without him, without this mistake, we would never have known what she was up to.
Mm-hmm.
We would never have known this. And I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in fate. I believe in the bigger picture. I believe in a just universe. And this is the justice that she needed. And she needed to get caught by a person like Clayton. And without him making that mistake. And so I hope that he looks back on this as being one of the best mistakes he ever made. Because he single-handedly, through going through the suffering that he went through, has saved others from that similar suffering. He has saved other men the trouble of having to deal with Laura Owens. So
I agree.
That's what I think.
She wouldn't have had that inroad. So if we're not willing to use it as a teaching story, all we're doing is empty gossip. We're just gossiping over the horror that people go through their lives.
So is the lesson you want men to learn to not have premarital sex? Is that because that's a religious and moral standpoint that I don't think applies here. I don't think it's fair to say that Clayton wouldn't have had to go through any of this if he wasn't a slut who let some chick suck his dick.
It does apply here. It does, because that's how you open the door for crazy people.
Okay, I will have to add to the point that I don't think you're seeing this as serious, because this is abuse. Let's just be straight. Let's just be straight. You don't understand the amount of emotional stress that comes from having someone falsely accuse you and then try to get you dragged through the courts.
But
so
they
that
can't
not only
falsely
hold
accuse
on,
you
let
if
me
you
finish.
don't open the door.
Okay.
So is he supposed to be alone for the rest of his life? Is he never supposed to date? Sorry.
Okay. What you're missing here is, if this is an abuse victim and they have been abused, they invited that person to your life. Are you going to say that she should have been perceptive, or he should have been perceptive enough to see the red flags as it happened? What are we actually trying to argue here?
Listen, I'm not queen of the world, so I can't tell people how to live their lives. I can only say use these stories as teaching moments for yourself. However, people.
How many times does she have to say it? We get it. Say it once and move on.
A couple hundred times.
Why is she screaming?
People take it as how they're going to take it. I'm not saying people have to listen to me.
And in this case, that's not what we're talking about. In this case, that didn't happen. So the other thing happened. The mistake was made. So we have to talk about what goes on. She kept you guys from even talking about the
updates
in the case, and the fact that the county attorney is going to prosecute is investigating this case, that they assigned an investigator to it, that there are actual forward progress movements in this case that are important. And instead we have to discuss why Kay thinks people shouldn't get blowjobs. I guess I don't know.
I'm not saying this guy has to be celibate. I'm not saying this guy can't have premarital sex. I don't care. But understand, this is the world we live in. What is the point of being Pollyanna and denying that this is the world and these people walk amongst us? You can beat your fists in the air and say these people shouldn't walk amongst us.
What word? Which one?
Pollyanna?
Oh, you don't know Pollyanna?
I've never.
Okay, so Pollyanna is a famous story, a famous book, and they turned it into a movie with Haley Mills. And Pollyanna is a little girl who always looks on the bright side of life. She's an orphan, and she's always looking on the bright side of life. And she teaches an entire town how to be positive. And so and it's a really sweet book and a really sweet movie. But people now use it to kind of insult positive people by saying, don't be such a Pollyanna.
Okay.
Why are you Pollyanna was actually a great story, and I hate the fact that it's now used as almost like an epithet against people who are too positive. So you should watch it, Brad. It's a great movie
I'll add it.
with Ronald Reagan's first wife.
Oh, jeez.
What was her name? The first wife, not Nancy. He was married to a movie star before Nancy, and she's in it. What is her name? The chat, tell me her name.
These abusive, gaslighting people shouldn't walk amongst us. The fact of the matter is that they do. So people have to be on guard. They have to live defensively now in this world that we live in. 30, 40 years ago,
Jane
this kind
Wyman.
of stuff would have been.
Yes. Jane Wyman and Haley Mills. Great movie. Absolutely great movie.
And scandalous and unheard of. People weren't necessarily doing this to the degree that they are now. And social media has made it that much worse because they get all kinds of attention for doing it. Whereas 30 years ago, there was no social media and they didn't get attention. These things happened sort of in vacuums around the country and you never heard about them, but you hear about them now. What I'm saying is, if you're going to talk about stories like this, you're going to look into stories like this, you're only empty gossiping if you're just talking about how horrible it is.
And of course, that is not what is going on here.
Yeah, she acts like we're just misery partying for Clayton and
Is that
say,
what she's
what was
doing?
him?
Is that what she's doing about the Karen Reed case? Is she idle gossiping about that case? Because, I mean, what is she going to do about... What can she do socially about the Karen Reed case that's being tried currently right now? Nothing. There's nothing that can be done. They arrested today. I heard that. I can't believe it. The Commonwealth went on and on and on for weeks and weeks and weeks. Then the defense gets it and they're done in 2 days, 3 days, right? What was it, 3 days?
It was pretty
I didn't
quick.
get to see today yet. I didn't get to see yesterday or today. I'm still catching
You'll
up.
love Darth Vader Doctor today.
Oh, Darth Vader Doctor sounds interesting. I heard Crash Daddy is somebody I need to get to know too. Crash Daddy.
Apparently the judge was infatuated with him
I
too.
saw that clip. It was funny. It was funny. She was like, she was watching him like, It was good. The Karen Reed trial is something, and I can't believe that anybody could walk away from what we've seen so far and be like, oh yeah, she definitely did it beyond a reasonable doubt. But this woman thinks she did, and unfortunately, she rage quit before we could hear why her stupid opinion is that Karen Reed did it. All right, but anyway,
teaching moment. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that I'm a dictator and that everybody should live the way I say they should live. But on the flip side of this,
but you are making it a very moral issue, which this is not
it's a moral issue. What she's done is immoral.
So you're saying Clayton should have done something different, and that's where it's absolutely incorrect.
Yes, he should have lived defensively. If he hadn't,
no,
But there's no guarantee that if he had lived defensively, that this would not have happened to him. Just like my friend who got sexually abused by her very first husband, first love of her life. What could she have done? She did live defensively. She didn't date around. She wasn't a slut. She didn't sleep with a bunch of guys. She slept with her husband, her very first love. And he ended up being a sicko.
She's in this like endless toilet bowl and just swishing around the same 3 points on and on and on.
Yeah, it's awful. And also, I don't like the way she was treating Dr. Hines. It's his show. He's trying to get her attention so that he can, change the subject or move it along. And she's just totally ignoring him. And I hate that. I hate it.
Again, that's your philosophy. This is not philosophical.
Philosophy. I can only give mine. I can't give anyone else's, so I'm not going to change mine.
I completely
understand
that. I completely understand that. But this case is not about philosophy. It's not about whether
Well,
someone
I
should have
choose to
done
make it about philosophy. How about that? I choose to. That's how I can't think any other way. You want me to go along with just empty gossiping, and I don't do that.
Okay,
I
you keep
take it
saying
private.
it's empty gossiping. You just learned about this case today. So
That's
can I
right.
educate you on
That's what
further
I
points
thought I
on
was
this?
coming on to talk about Karen Reed, and I get blasted with this story I know nothing about.
Oh
and
my
I
God.
feel
Okay.
like
How
polite.
about this? How about
Now
this? When you get invited on to talk about something on someone's show and that's not the topic, shut the fuck up until it's your topic. How about that? Shut up and wait for someone to ask you a question. Might be the thing you do when you're invited to talk about a topic on a stream that has multi-topics.
And she's you could tell how incensed she is, and I was pointing the finger because she's just throwing it out there, and then she immediately flips and goes, what is this about me? What are you doing?
Oh, what did you make?
Orange juice.
Oh, Hangry made
Take a look.
orange juice popsicles with his brand new popsicle maker.
Ooh,
It is
yummy.
fine, but just take a look.
Oh, that's delicious.
I know.
Can you put vodka in mine? Just kidding. That was a joke. Don't do that. He doesn't know what
I
that
don't
is.
even know what vodka is.
Exactly. Good boy.
Good answer, boy.
Good boy.
Or do I?
No, get out of here.
That
No.
is not.
Get out. Out. I love you, but move it on. Move it along.
The police are going to be at your door. You know how much vodka he's been drinking?
No, I was just thinking, though, that would be delicious. A vodka orange juice popsicle.
Screwdriver popsicle, yeah.
Yeah. A screwdriver. Have I ever tried that? I don't think I have. That's a fantastic idea. That was good, though. I bought him. He's been begging me to get popsicle makers so that he could make some stuff. And
Right.
he did. He made orange juice popsicles. Oh, vodka doesn't freeze. Do you think it would if you put it in orange juice, though?
No.
No? Maybe it would
Alcohol
be like
doesn't
a
freeze, which
a
is why people...
screwdriver slushy.
Slushy would work.
Good smart ass kid, totally Midwest attitude when he was like, or do I? That's so funny.
But yeah, like
All
I
right,
said,
where were we?
I'll be back on with Dr. Hines, and we can talk about the updates that were there. But it was just an unfortunate stream in her being the way that she was. But I hope you have a wonderful trip to Disney. I'm sure we'll get a couple
thank
of
you.
local streams from the pool. So
I hope so. I know that the mobile doesn't work real well on my phone, but I'll try.
but I'm
I'll
gonna pop
for sure
over
be
and-
sharing pictures on Locals. MeganFox.locals.com. Check it out there. All right. See you later, Brad. Thanks
Yep,
for
see you.
stopping by. And you did a great job on the stream, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. You kept your cool. It was great. I know you were doing this inside, though. All right. Here we go.
Chiming in at all.
Can
So-
I educate you on the fact that we are not just idly gossiping about this, that we actually have taken steps, that we're not trying. This is not just gossip to
Tori's so pissed. She's like, okay, deep breath.
talk about this woman. We are wanting to get more attention brought to this case, and with the attention brought to this case by the content creators who have put their own livelihoods at risk to do so, we were able to raise funds to get Clayton an attorney. We were able to raise funds to get a laptop
He makes
analyzed
six
that
figures.
proves that she perjured
He just
herself in
makes
court.
six
Can I
figures.
finish what I'm saying, please?
Guys.
You said he makes
Guys,
six figures.
guys.
What does he need fundraising for?
Oh my
Okay.
God. What does he need? He makes six figures. What does he need fundraising for? All right. Let me see if I can explain this for the intellectually challenged. Clayton Eckert incurred over $150,000 of legal fees in less than a year. He makes $144,000 a year. So he incurred his entire salary, more than his entire salary, in less than a year. And she wants to know why he needs fundraising? Is that a joke? He doesn't make that much, ma'am. How does a guy who makes $144,000 a year pay a $150,000 bill or more that he incurred in 5 months?
Guys, guys, we are missing the point here because we are gonna go on to Karen Reed soon. So, but what I'm saying is we are
Miss
missing the
Jenner,
point.
ma'am,
Like,
this is a Wendy's.
sorry, not we. I believe you are missing the point in regards to what's actually going on here, okay? Because what actually is going on is consequences for an action. This is not about worldviews. This is not about what he should have done or what should have happened. Like, end of the day, I don't want to go too graphic, but even if a woman walks on the street naked, like streaking, I'm talking naked, it doesn't give someone an excuse to go and rape her just because, that's what's going on here.
No, that's
Like it is on that level. No,
two completely
it is on that level.
incomparable things. And look, I'm not missing any point. What is the point of drawing attention? Help me understand. What are we drawing attention to? That
We're
this
drawing
woman,
attention to the fact that she's done this numerous times and she will continue to do so. We're drawing a fact to the point that Maricopa County does not protect its sexual victims and take steps to prevent this from happening again. We're drawing attention to the fact that we need to change our laws and our procedures so that these situations cannot occur again. It is not up to me or to Clayton or any other victims to change our behavior and be less trusting and less willing to open our lives to people in order to prevent these things from occurring. What we need to do is make bigger consequences and stand behind them, so that people who do shitty things have to face the wrath of
and
that.
she is. She's going to be prosecuted.
Which would not have happened and did not happen with her other 3 victims because there was not light on this case. This case did not have the attention and it was able to slip through the cracks. Now that people have their eyes on it, now that it's in the media, now the judges can't let it go away. Now the county attorney cannot just slip it under the books and let it disappear. Now it will be addressed and now changes can happen. That's the point of talking about this case.
Right.
Yeah.
How often does this happen?
By the way, Tori, I think her name is Tori Big Johnson. What a fantastic way to explain that. Good job. Great job. I mean, she was on fire that night.
It's happening to me and my friend right now. The girl who's attacking me did it 2 years ago. Laura's been doing this for 10 years. How often? It happens every day.
Okay, you need to calm down.
I don't know why.
Oh, she needs to calm down? Excuse us, Kay, but you've been the one who has amped it up to here from the very beginning. And now you're telling my friend here to calm down? I don't think so. That's not the way any of this works. No. I'll tell you who needs to calm down. That's you.
How often does this happen where women are faking pregnancies and it's getting to this point? How often does that happen in this country?
Now you will recall, I think when we first began this, or she's going to start, or maybe it will be later. She just said, how often does this happen? As if it doesn't happen very often. In a few minutes, she's going to say, it happens so often that I can Google it. Like, this woman is just,
Yeah, but I want to ask you a question.
Kay, I mean, it's insane to me it even got to this point.
Okay. Are you opposed to the consequences coming for her?
Absolutely not. She should go to
now.
In my opinion, she should go to jail for wasting the court's time. 100%.
Okay. And all I'm saying is that's what is going to happen now. That opportunity never would have existed if this didn't happen to Clayton.
Right.
Like other people
I don't know about that's a leap. That's a leap.
What do you mean that's a leap?
That's kind of a leap. I don't know if it never would have happened.
That's literally what Big Johnson has just said.
I don't know. You'd have to show me some sort of study on how often this happens in courts around the country.
Right now that she's
where women
taken to court for her actions.
You have to prove you're pregnant to get welfare benefits. So maybe Maricopa just has some backwards things that they're doing, but you'd have to show me that this case and this case alone is going to have some dramatic change on the landscape of our legal system in terms of women faking pregnancies, which is kind of a one-off. This is so rare. It's kind of shocking because this doesn't.
All right, she just said it's so rare. It's kind of shocking. Now let's move on to when she rage quits, and then we'll be done with this. God, this really got to me. It really got to me. Oh, come on, don't do that. Spinning wheel of death. All right, well, while that's happening, we'll get to some super chats.
Still understand that they're still the victims in this situation because you are forgetting that he actually is a victim. It's not about him crossing the road.
Can I
and not
speak
looking
now?
both ways.
Can I
It's not
speak
about
now?
that.
I think
Yes,
you're
please.
wasting your time thinking that you're going to somehow reason with the crazy people out there on the internet that they shouldn't take the path she's taken and do what she did. Crazy.
Who the hell is doing that? I don't know who she thinks she's talking to, but literally none of us are talking to the crazy people because we're all aware that you can't talk to crazy. And of course, Big Johnson is going to set her straight. She's like, we're not talking to the crazy people. We're activists here for the court system to change its shitty rules so that this can't happen to somebody else.
It doesn't work that way. The crazy people watching aren't going to learn from this woman's mistakes. They're not going to, because they're crazy. We walk
No one's
amongst
thinking
these
that we can
people.
change a crazy person's perspective. We want to change the court's perspective on how they address paternity and protective order cases. And we want to warn those people who haven't had to experience someone as litigious and psychotic as this woman to be aware that there are types of people out there like her. That's not saying that it's like Clayton shouldn't have done what he did. It's to say, hey, this is how far things can go when women really want to take advantage of you. We know that it is an absolute pointless battle to try and get Laura to admit and to say, you know what, I did this wrong and this isn't how I should treat people. That's very much aware. She's doubled down, tripled down. She's not going to give that in and say, you're right, I lied and I shouldn't have done this. Over 10 years to all these different men. What we can do and what we are fighting to do is to get the procedure changed in Arizona so women cannot start paternity cases as early as she did without proof of pregnancy coming directly from a doctor and not the photoshopped sonograms that she tried to present.
Right.
We want it so that there is better communication between the protective orders because she's had them in California. She has them in different counties here. In Arizona, where I live, we have the Superior Court and we have the Municipal Court. And if you get a protective order at the Municipal Court, it does not show up at Superior Court and you cannot pull up all of the details from it. So she has gone to multiple different judges and we have the proof of her going to multiple different courthouses, and when she doesn't get a protective order served, she goes to a different judge and tries again with a stronger story. That is what we are trying to prevent. It's not about changing her and convincing her she did something wrong. It's about changing the courts and making them aware of what she has been doing.
You're not going to change the courts. You're not going to change the courts online. No, you don't. It has to be done crass. It has to be done
right.
Oh my God. And this is where, oh my God. Where's my internal screaming? You're not going to change the courts. You're not going to change the courts. Oh my God.
No.
It has to be done grassroots.
It has to be done grassroots, she says. Well, Kay, what do you call this? What do you call what it is that we're doing here? What do you think we do here? What? Where's my button for that? I have a button.
What would you say you do here?
We just got off a letter writing campaign last week where we had so many people writing letters to the county attorney that the county attorney has already turned this case over to their internal investigator. It doesn't get much more grassroots than that, Kay. I don't know what
is being pursued right now as we speak. That's why she's
because of people like me.
And
we are making these changes.
It's done grassroots. It's done with state representatives. It's done by voting. It's not done by just idle gossip.
Oh, state representatives? You mean like the county attorney? You mean like the elected county attorney, you big dumbass? Megan Fox called me a dumbass. I want to hear Critical K and make that sound clip for me. I'll put it on my board.
On a YouTube channel.
People still, but that,
I don't think you realize.
She just said that this grassroots action can't be done by people on a YouTube channel. I got news for you, Kay. You obviously don't know about my YouTube channel because we've changed laws on this YouTube channel. You can look into the state of Oklahoma and the University of Oklahoma and the gender transition thing for kids that they were trying to pull over on the Oklahomans there. Yeah, we got that shit shut down on this YouTube channel right here. Right here. We changed laws right here on this YouTube channel. So you can just take your naysaying and stick it where the sun don't shine.
Go ahead. Big Johnson, Kay.
Yep.
Yeah, you must not know about me.
Realizing
you must not know.
It's now in the court's attention to do something about those votes that happened before they now are aware of this, so that the people that they've been voted in, because you're now moving into something is not equatable.
Well,
These
great,
are people that
fabulous.
can
It's
actually
moving through the court.
no.
Great,
Please don't
fabulous.
speak
It's
over me.
moving through the court.
Please don't speak over me, please. Don't speak over me.
Don't speak
Right.
over me. I love you, Dr.
What's
Hines.
happening right
Tell her.
now?
But next time, Dr. Hines, use your mute button. If this ever happens to you again, use the mute button, because you can mute your guests. I'd mute her ass so fast. I'd have taken away her microphone way before now. You're just such a gentleman, you didn't do it. But I'd mute her and then also say, hey, you're muted until I tell you can speak, because this is my show and you don't speak over me here. Them's the rules. So shut your big fat dumb mouth until I'm ready to hear from you.
Is there the courts are now seeing this case because someone of notoriety has finally brought it into them, and they're now referring it. That's a big thing for a court to refer to a DA for a conviction from, what was it, a family law case, right? It was from family law court, was it?
Yes, it
Big
was.
Johnson? Yeah. So coming from that court to go to a criminal court, like most likely to go to a criminal court, there's a lot of merit to this. That should be highlighted to deter people, not just only to deter people, but hold the people that do this accountable and use the system in their benefit. Because there's a reason why she has been able to escape 3 protective orders. It is not about Clayton here at all in any way. He didn't do anything wrong by talking with this woman. He didn't do anything wrong. No.
Here we go.
This is not
With
the
her.
time.
He
This
didn't
is not the time.
just talk. Well, then why'd you have me on your show? If you're just
I
going to
can't-
direct what I can and cannot say. And if
Well,
you
I'm not going-
Google if it's illegal.
Like anybody, by the way, did anything about telling her what to do and say. If anything, she's telling everyone else not to, what they can and cannot think or say.
Legal to fake a pregnancy test. Yes, it is. And women like her have already been
And
prosecuted
this is
across
being
the country.
enforced.
So now she's going to tell you all about how unrare this is. A minute ago, she was saying it was super rare, remember? Now it's, women do this all the time and it's illegal and they get prosecuted. So why are we talking about this?
And
This
if
is
you
being
give me
enforced.
5 minutes, I will find multiple such cases where the woman was prosecuted for faking a pregnancy test and for getting to this point. So,
All right, so
it's not true. It's not true that poor Clayton is the first victim of this, and it's now being drawn attention to the courts. I pulled up an article from the Atlantic from 2013.
Oh, God. Who said he was the first victim? Who? We've been talking about false accusations from Amber Heard, false accusations from these other women. I have an entire book about false accusations that goes all the way through biblical times, through modern times, and literature of all the times that women have told terrible lies to imprison men, have them murdered, get their way, steal land. You can buy that book. It's called Believe Evidence, The Death of Due Process, from Salome to #MeToo. But my God, woman, nobody said that.
Weird. That contradicts what you said a minute ago, that this is a one-off case and you've never heard of it before. If you're
Yep.
so quickly able to Google how many times this has happened in court.
What I meant by one-off is it being a reality star.
What?
But this happens with common people. This
It
has
happened-
happened before.
It also happened with Trevor Bauer, who's also in Maricopa County, who's a professional athlete.
Well, it
It
sounds
happened
like
with Andy
Maricopa
Oswald.
County is the problem then. Good luck solving it. I don't know what else to say. I don't know. I can't opine
You're
about Maricopa
insufferable.
County. I can't opine about the court. Well, so are you. Because you want to just degrade my.
Who said my book was written by Steve Gosney? Believe Evidence was written by me. Steve Gosney has written a lot of books, but not that one. He he reviewed it, but it's not his book. It's mine.
Opinion on the morality of this and tell me that I'm
There
not
is
allowed
no
to have
morality
it.
to have, though. This is
And you
someone.
want to shame
these
me
are
for
credible
having my
victims.
morality opinion, although it's somehow just outrageous now to have an opinion about morality and to tell men that it's wrong to take advantage of women sexually, that they have no intention of having any
So
commitment with.
she's
It's
a
just
victim here then.
outrageous now to say that.
So
You want to shame me and back me into a
Kay,
corner and accuse me of
Kay.
victim blaming.
Oh,
You're
shut
talking
up.
over me.
A new one? Brienne, are you kidding? Brian Wilson says, new Laura blog live now. I can't even. Well, you guys will have to listen to Tug read it. I'm sure he will in the next 3
Hey,
minutes.
I'm done. Now you're talking over me and telling me to shush after telling me not to talk over you.
Hey,
So now
hey.
I am done. Goodbye.
Wow, okay, rage quit. All right,
And this stream just got better.
All right, that's where I was going to end that because, and this stream just got better. That was funny. God, insufferable. So anyway, Brad got me he found me the lawsuit that she was involved in. Basically, she was sued by, I'll tell you, it was a default judgment. Let's share this. Default judgment in libel case, no more Lucy in the football. From Judge Carlton Reeves' decision today in Andrucheo v. Yax, plaintiff Ray Andrucheo is the mother of Christian Andriacheo, a young man who allegedly died under suspicious circumstances in 2014. She resides in Lauderdale County, Mississippi, where she's a mental health service provider. Defendant Karen Yax is a prominent social media figure known to her followers as the Critical K. She operates a webcast where she discusses real crime stories. She's a resident of Michigan. On March 21st, April 11th, 2021, Yax discussed Christian Andriacheo's death on her webcast. Yax stated that Ray Andriacheo has really dominated the narrative about this case via intimidation, bullying, outright lies, bribery, getting people drunk, and getting young people drunk, among other claims. Yax also stated, I really do believe that Hayes, isn't it weird that this woman's last name is Yax? Like yakety yak? Don't talk back? Yax? Yak? She yaks and yaks and yaks? That fits. The universe has a sense of humor. I really do believe that Hayes, Mitchell, a different patient, was treated by Ray, and Hayes is now dead with a drug overdose. He's dead also by self-harm. So she has a son that is dead by self-harm, and she has a patient who is dead by self-harm. Oh, wow. This is awful. This is awful to say about someone who lost their son to suicide. Just absolutely terrible. Andriacheo contends that these statements leave the false impression that she had somehow caused or contributed to their deaths. Andriacheo states, or contends that Andriacheo adds that these statements have defamed or painted her in a false light, causing her to suffer injury to her reputation, etc. Yax, by the way, never showed up for any of the hearings, and so there was a judgment against her for I don't know what it turned out to be. People are saying it was $500,000. I'm not sure, but she got the default judgment granted. We can maybe read that lawsuit sometime. All right. So, yeah, you know what, Dr. Hines, now that you know about that, you might want to be careful having her back on because she's a loose cannon who gets herself and probably others around her into trouble. I hear that the brand new Medium article is off the hook crazy. So I am going to text Tug and make sure that he has it ready to go. And I'm going to send you guys over there. Send me link to join. And I will listen to Tug. I'll join Tug while he reads it. I'm redirecting after I read Super Chats. Brad, would you send me the archive link, please, that I can send, or send it to me so I can forward it to Tug. All right, Super Chats. Lady K, Texas, thanks for the 5. What do you want about Jane? Doe is out there searching down Kay because she sides with her. Have a fabulous vacation, Meg. And this might be Jane Doe's first friend on the internet. Dana Creasy, thanks for the 10. Spray bottle with fan money. Do they still sell those? I think they do, and my kid totally wants one, so I'll make sure she gets one. Thanks for the 10. Sabine Simone, thanks for the Canadian 10. My Disney tip, mornings are for rides. Noon to midday, go back to hotel for pool and return to the parks in the evening. You know, that's a great idea. We've never done that, but I think we may have to do that. Special K, thanks for the 10. Have a great time. We will miss you. I'll miss you too. But if you're on locals, maybe we'll be able to chat and connect because there's a live chat all the time. Wizzy Wheels, thanks for the 5. Here's some beer tokens for you, Megan. Appreciate that. Epcot's my favorite place. SF, thanks for the 2. Has anyone ever tried to put that toothpaste back? I don't think you can. I think that's the whole point. Unhung Hero, thanks for the 2. Cat's out of the bag. Job has been blown. Phrasing.
Phrasing.
McCrae, thanks to the 10, we spent $8,000 on a trip to Disney Universal. Waited till she was 8 so she would at least remember it. Apparently, she doesn't remember it at all. Shaking my head. Well, Hangry's 9, almost 10, so let's hope. Special K Elf, thanks to the 5. Laura found her first fan. Yeah, it sure seems that way. Rosalind Duke, thanks to the 2, says, I feel a GFY coming on.
Go fuck yourself. But go fuck yourself.
Wizzy Wheels, thanks to the 5. Thought I had better send some more beer tokens. I think you're going to need them after all this tonight. Yeah, this is so nuts. I have to finish packing. Rolla Aus, I can hear Clayton now. Megan said it was divine providence that I got a blowy. I did say that, didn't I? I did. Oh, well, it could have been. I mean, look, everything happens for a reason. And that reason was so that Laura Owens could get caught. Laura Owens, thanks to the 5. Kay is just jealous because nobody wants a blowy from her. Sorry, not sorry. Nick Cray, thanks to the 10. Karen Reed is definitely over. Defense experts pretty much said the Commonwealth's theory is BS. Well, it is BS. It's ridiculous. Unhung Hero, thanks to the 2. Kay takes the counter opinion to get attention. Possibly. And she really needs to learn how to be quiet sometimes. I mean, I know I talk a lot, but I do like to give people the opportunity to actually get their point across, you know? Like I try not to, I try anyway. I know I interrupt too much, but good Lord, that woman was 10 times worse than me. When someone is worse, when I get to say that somebody is worse than me, you know it's bad because you know me. Zach, thanks to the 5. Mary Kay, or whatever her name is, needs to go back to selling makeup out of the trunk of her pink Cadillac and let the grown-ups talk about court cases. Siobhan Curley, thanks to the 2. The irony is this lady seeing herself as a victim. Yeah. Laura Owens, thanks to the 5. Yes, you're talking to crazy people. You're talking to Kay. That's how it started to feel. McCrae, thanks for the 2. And by the way, your hair looks fabulous. Well, thank you. You can tell Mary. I'll tell Mary that you said so. Did you look at what a wonderful job she did on the highlights? Don't they look good? I mean, it's all good. No more grays. All the color is so good. Dang, looks good. I'm very happy with it. Laura Owens, thanks to the 5. Why do we care what Kate thinks? She won't even show her face. Even I show my face. It's true. Lori's a rainbow, thanks to the 10. Oh my gosh, this woman is horrible. She's so disrespectful to the doctor. She's giving me a headache. Have a fabulous trip. Thank you so much. All right, guys, it's time to go. Time to go see Tug. Get over there. He's going to read that new blog post, and you tell him that I'm on my way, that he needs to send me a link, okay? I don't think I'm going to leave you with a song tonight. Let's just get over there. Go. You're going to Tug's.